For pictures. No
Like
volleyball.
Teams is
So
harder for people to, for the public to access.
Let,
I don't think,
John know something we can get started.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I
Yeah.
can.
We're good?
sorry.
I wouldn't feel like the baseball shot, but
Okay.
it was, you look very
So
relaxed.
you're all?
I think we're good, yeah.
Okay, great. Appreciate it. Thanks for doing.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Westtown East Goshen Police Commission meeting of August 15th, 2025. My name is Dick Pomerantz. I'm the chair. Cody Bright, East Goshen Vice Chair.
Tom Stone at large.
Mila Carter, Westtown Township Manager.
Derek Davis, East Goshen Manager.
David Leahy, interim chief of police.
Kelly Tatum, Administration.
We have an agenda that we're going to be following. But before that, let's do a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we sit down, if we could just do a moment of silence, and in particular, this be for all first responders in what is an increasingly challenging environment around the country. Thank you. So we'll begin with an executive, we held an executive session prior to this meeting, and the discussion was regarding personnel. So with that, and regarding the July 18th meeting of 2025, do I hear so moved?
Second.
I'll have to abstain because it wasn't here. So any comments about it, guys? All in favor? Aye. Chairman's report. I'm going to keep this quick. I'm actually going to make it to, I've already made the reference about the concern about the society in which it's difficult to watch television or look at your tablets, and every single day there's another shooting. They should particularly involving the police being the targets. So that's something that's on my mind, but it's on my mind both as an observer of current events, but more importantly as an observer of our concern for our own police departments. So I have a series of three different totally unrelated questions, but the first question is related to that. This is really for our intern chief. What's the reaction? And I've asked this before, but I think, and this is during the whole time that I've been on the police commission, which is, I think it's my 5th year of it. To you and your colleagues, but in particular those who have been on the police department for a shorter period of time. How do they deal with, and how do your family, the significant others, deal with this constant news of cops being shot?
So I can speak for myself and how my wife has dealt with it over 27 years. She sort of blocks it because she has to. There's no other, she realizes that there's a chance that, I may not come home from work, and this is everybody's spouse. I'm not saying that, but personally, and she knows, especially when I was on night shift, when I would leave and say goodbye, love you. She knew that might be the last, time she ever, I would come home. There's a possibility. You realize that, but as a spouse of a person in law enforcement, you know that that's what they do every day, and you're proud of them for it. So again, it's sort of, you block it out, but it's still there.
Is it more predominant now than even 5 or 10 years ago?
I wouldn't say it's more predominant. I would say that in the world of constant information that we're now so accustomed to, even 5 years out of COVID, it's even more flow of information on a second by second basis. We just hear so much more about it. If you look at historically, the amount of officers that are killed throughout the nation, it's pretty consistent, over the years. So it's just, we're hearing about it more. But there is definitely, you see it in the news, and you see a lot of these attacks on law enforcement. The 2 state troopers that were just shot, last week responding to a call. you never know what you're going to get when you go to a call. They didn't think they were going to be shot at when they went there. Most officers, when they respond to a call, don't think they're going to be involved in a shooting or be shot at, for the most part, depending on, most calls. It's just something you have to be prepared for it, every time you act on something.
How do you prepare your kids for that?
I don't necessarily know that you can. Like your adult spouse realizes it. I think especially if you have young kids, they realize that, my mom and your daddy's a police officer. They go and help people every day. And if they don't come home, God forbid, an officer loses their life and they have young kids at home, I don't think you can prepare them for it. It's just something that the family will have to help them get through. But they just look at mommy and daddy as police officer. I'm proud of them. So
One of the things that we haven't done in all the years that I've sat on the police commission, and frankly, I don't think I've ever asked. So I'm asking both as a member of the police commission, but also as a resident, because I think it'd be incredibly helpful. What would be the possibility, even in a meeting like here, because it's being recorded? Do you think that we could invite 2 or 3 significant others, spouses and the like, to talk about what we're just talking about? And what's it like for their loved one to be a cop? And at the same time, how do they deal with it? And then how do their children? I think it would be an eye opener for people watching it.
yeah, I can set that up.
And we don't see that very often anywhere or in the country.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think people would be interested in doing that?
Yeah.
And not the public. Do you think that the spouses are saying?
Yeah, I'm sure some would not want to, but I'm sure I could find some that would.
You like the idea? Sure. Okay. Your thoughts about that?
Absolutely.
Sure. Okay. In terms of the last thing is that and I have a feeling it'll probably be different at some point, maybe, but can you, and this is really maybe Derek, because you were, where are we in the recruiting process, if anywhere, with the police chief? Search.
The ad has been distributed by the firm that was placed by the board to handle the process. So that was Safe City Solutions, who Westtown and East Goshen approved. Again, the ad is now out on various outlets as far as the advertisement to apply. And applications are starting to come in, and that'll be a 3-week process, at which time then we will, well, not then, but actually probably next week, I will talk to the firm and see what kind of process we want to lay out for after the deadline for the application. So, I mean, it's underway.
And to the best of your knowledge, are we getting a response?
We're getting a response. I mean, it wasn't a floodgate the first 48 hours. So I'm not saying I envisioned that, but it was, I think a few have come in, but very, very recently, like probably not until late yesterday. So yeah, so it's definitely.
Only been in 4 days.
Yeah. Well, yeah, whatever is limited time, I just wanted to get an update. So, I think I'll stop there and I'll ask Dave again, is that if we could set that up for maybe next month, I think that'd be really cool.
Sure.
Okay. If not that for October.
Right.
But I think it'll be different. I think it humanizes also the police, humanizes to some extent the police commission as well. Absolutely. Vice Chair.
I just want to thank both John and Dave and their leadership for the fair. People were very happy with the amount of security presence, and I didn't hear any complaints or didn't seem as if there's any trouble over there. So I want to thank everyone for their planning and their assistance in that.
Thanks.
I will echo those words. I spent about an hour and a half with Lieutenant Leahy and his fine folks on Tuesday, and that was the second year that after the commission's action, that there was a definite written command plan for the West Goshen Fair, and I was pleased with the execution of it. And also would like to thank David Molnar. David, are you listening?
Present.
Oh, he's here. He's just not talking.
Sorry.
I was extremely impressed, not only with our police presence, but with the fire department and their fire police and the way they handled the event. It was a big event. And I had interaction and saw Mr. Mullen there dressed in his uniform very sharply, and he represented the fire police very well, and I want to thank him for his effort along with all of the fire police and participants.
I'm gonna just sort of, before we go on to, Dave's comments, I'll echo everybody's comments just now regarding, what I saw and experienced at the fair. And sort of with a smile on my face, would you let at least the individual who was the, plainclothes person, when I was there?
Mhm.
He was terrific. It was like, well, it was interesting. Can I add some? Interim Chief Dave Leahy.
Maybe my add some real quick.
No,
This is the first year too that I actually had a bunch of people like notice the drones and explain to them, like, they're like, oh, why are these drones there? And like explaining why, like, oh, that's super cool. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see not only them being used, but people recognize it. Right.
Sorry,
So compliments, we had a few that came in, since last month. The first one being a compliment we received through our Crime Watch page for Officer Devin Hinman. A resident wanted to thank Officer Hinman for going above and beyond after he responded to, his residence after his wife, who was elderly, fell. He assisted, at that time along with the ambulance crew. But what the resident was really proud of Officer and appreciative of Officer Hinman doing afterwards was he reached out to Department of Aging, provided some information to the Department of Aging. The Department of Aging subsequently reached out to the husband and provided some services to the family. So he was very appreciative of the extra effort put on by Officer Hinman. We also received another compliment via email thanking Officer Meg Bevenauer and Officer Andrew Sardella for their assistance in locating an individual's daughter-in-law who was suffering a mental health crisis. Through investigation, they were able to find the woman and speak with her on the phone. She was down in Delaware. We were able to talk her through some issues and get her help. So the mother-in-law was very appreciative of our officers' efforts. As far as the Goshen Fair is concerned, I appreciate you all bringing it up. It was not only a success for the fire department, but also for the police department, as we had no major incidents to report. There were some incidents that we did handle. One of them involved a public drunken arrest, trespassing incident, underage drinking incident. We had a couple missing children incidents, all located within a minute or so. And we had a couple minor motor vehicle crashes. So all in all, it was a success for the police department as far as safety and security goes. Again, I would like to thank the members of the PC and members of East Goshen Board who stopped by our command center and observed the operation and the operation of the drone. The drone was a very valuable tool this year. We were able to monitor from the sky groups that we thought may be potential problem makers and keep an eye on them, and then deploy our officers to those areas so they could actually see them on the ground. Not only that, the drone actually assisted the fire police a little bit in checking to see where they're at in the lot with open spots, and we were able to relay that. So that was an assistance we were able to give to the fire police as well. So again, happy it was a great event. I'd like to congratulate Officer Gemma Lewis, who has accepted a position as a full-time police officer with the East Pikeland Police Department. Officer Lewis has served with WEGO since December of 2023. We all wish Gemma the best in her law enforcement career and thank her for her service to the citizens of West Town and East Goshen. Gemma's last shift with WEGO will be this evening, so we wish her best in her future endeavors. As you may have seen in the last week, we started a new initiative on our Facebook page. We're going to have a officer spotlight initiative. So each week, an officer will be highlighted with pictures of them through their years of the department. And also, some funny, lighthearted questions, will be asked of the officer. The reason why we're doing this is, put a name with the face. So I know the board recently, in past months, to say, well, who's that officer? Now not only the police commission, but board members can say, okay, I remember seeing that officer. He likes pizza on Friday nights. A fun thing, just to, again, a good community engagement for our officers in our community. And so far, it's been a huge success. Got plenty of likes on it. So that's all I have for my report.
I'm going to raise something, but I'm going to say and this is for everybody here. I'm going to ask for about 2 minutes of follow-up executive session. There's something that's taking place, not just here in this country, but also I'm very conscious of it happening in Canada. It's involving adults, but it's also involving young people in school. It may ultimately become something here, and you're not going to hear about it too often. I hope it doesn't happen. But then I'd like to ask, and I think it's something that really belongs in executive session. So if you all bear with me, and I'll raise it with you and ask everybody if they'll give me 2 more minutes afterwards, okay? Because it could involve the police. Sure. Okay. Statistics.
So for July, the department handled 2,056 incidents. Year to date, as of July 31st, the department handled 14,167 incidents. In Westtown specifically in July, there were 934. Scotian specifically, 1,122. The entire breakdown of all the calls that we handled in the month of July can be seen on our Crime Watch page and the police commission packet for August. We've seen a trend that happens, pretty much on a annual basis at some point during the year or not. But we have individuals that come into our jurisdiction and neighbors jurisdictions from most times out of state to either break into cars or to steal cars. We've had that occur in jurisdictions, or neighboring jurisdictions have had that occur in the last week or so. We did have one vehicle theft from Westtown that occurred that we're investigating. The Pennsylvania State Police in Rock had a similar incident that happened in Thornbury, Delaware County. They're investigating, but we believe it's the same group. But again, it's the trend that happens pretty much on an annual basis at some point. But we do remind our citizens that they need to not leave their keys or their key fobs in their cars overnight. That's a recipe for disaster in your car being stolen. So that's what happened. We believe in a couple of these cases. I'd like to commend our detective division, specifically Detective David Hale, for the thorough investigation regarding the adult male subject videoing young females at the East Goshen YMCA last month. I tell you, the parents of those young girls are extremely pleased with the swift, thorough, and transparent investigation completed from the initial report taken by Sergeant Lewis at the time, the day after it occurred, up until the arrest of the subject. As was reported in the news, the subject was a part-time police officer in Delaware County. This was not difficult for our officers, but it is always, something different when you have to investigate a fellow law enforcement officer. I'm proud that everybody involved took this seriously. Again, transparent. It's our belief that nobody's above the law, whether you're a police officer or not. The priority of our children the safety of our children are our highest priority. So I'm glad this was handled swiftly and thoroughly and concluded.
I'm pleased that you raised it, but then I had at least 2 or 3 people ask the following question. When the part-time officer was arrested, he couldn't raise bail. And all of a sudden we found out that his bail was raised. And I think that number was 100,000. So the question is, who raised the bail?
So his bail was set at 100,000. It wasn't raised. That was the initial bail.
So,
$100,000 cash.
who paid for it?
I believe he ended up getting a bail bond.
Who,
I don't know. I don't know how he got it.
Was it done by the police, not our police association? Was it done by some police union?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, thank you. Is his career over?
Their internal affairs investigation is taking place as far as he's on administrative leave at his department. I don't know the status of his current position within the department at this point, other than he was put on administrative leave.
You're the interim police chief. Let's assume, God forbid, that happened here. Similar circumstances. How would it be handled?
Very similarly, he would be put on administrative leave first and foremost, depending, typically the way these things go. You have a criminal investigation and then an administrative internal investigation. Most likely they run separate in most cases. But he would probably be terminated very swiftly, depending, on the circumstances and how the investigation or the charges go.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
I will make a general statement. The purpose of a complete background investigation by the employing agency is paramount. And this is a general statement. Sometimes people who have been known to the police for as long as 15 years and have had other law enforcement misfortunes in their career still get hired. And that's why the background investigation is so important, that you can read through that ever how you want.
Yeah.
And I think somebody knows what I'm talking about.
Finished?
Yes.
Thank you. Township roundtable? We'll go in this order.
Just a couple of things. We are getting ready for Route 926 cleanup. So we put out the registration link that is on September 14th on Sunday at 7 a.m. We were able to get in touch with Concept School. So the idea would be for people to park at Concept School and then just to walk westbound on 926 and to do trash cleanup. And then our EAC members would meet people at Amish Market and drive them back to Concept School to their cars. So we are getting ready. We're thinking maybe 15 to 20 people, depending how many people would show up. But EAC envisions this initiative to take place twice per year in the fall and the spring. So it would depend on amount of trash that we see and the interest in this type of initiative. Just an update for this year, Westtown decided not to go ahead with the road program this year for various reasons. We are planning to design and to do engineering for the entire span of West Pleasant Grove Road from start to finish, and then early next year go out to bid to do repavement and changes to the roadway and realignment early next year. So it will involve a lot of stormwater management as well, a lot of tree cuttings, and about 6-inch realignment, and the road widening because the road is not up to specifications. So we decided that it would be a better approach just to do entire roadway next year instead of trying to partially tackle it this year. So there would be no impact on traffic, at least from that project for this year.
Talking about effect on traffic, what, if any, concerns does the police department have with the proposed work that's going to take place, PennDOT at 926 and 202?
Well, I mean, it's an intersection that's already congested on a daily basis. We'll work through it. I mean, obviously our traffic safety unit, if PennDOT needs anything from our traffic safety unit, we'll assist as best we can. And sometimes they do. If they need, a detail or need any special assistance, we'll assist the best we can, but we'll get through it.
Is the assumption that there will be even greater congestion just because of the nature of the work?
I would assume so.
Are there discussions at all between PennDOT and the police department?
Not as of yet, that I'm aware of. Are you, John?
No. Yeah, and the contract is RoadCom. That's who the contract is.
Well, Mila, before she finishes, you want to, even though it doesn't directly relate to the police department, it's kind of a fascinating story. You want to tell the story about the tennis court? meeting, with, that you had.
Yeah, so as you all know, we've had issue with our fence that was installed as a part of $6 million project at Oakland Park. Some of it was damaged by two wind events that we had, I believe, February and March, and you can see the poles just bended down at 90 degrees. So as we were working on getting the project complete, we realized that a lot of poles actually are very loose and entire fence moves. So it's about 8 to 10 feet fence, depending where it is. So we had a site visit with the engineer, trying to figure out what to do next. There was a lot of communication back and forth in the past several months, figuring out who would pay for the failure. So what we discovered, and that was actually our public works director. He said, how about we'll pull one or two of those poles out and see what's going on, instead of waiting until our design engineer would come up with whatever design and whatever fix. So we were surprised how easy it was to pull them. So they're supposed to be set in concrete, about 36 inches deep footing. So normally you would have 36 inches in, and then you have 6 inches of asphalt on top, and then you have your 8 to 10 foot pole. So we pulled it very easily, and we discovered they're probably 10 or 13 inches deep. So if you take that asphalt off of that account, this 10-foot pole is holding up by 4 inches of concrete, which is against the building code, against township regulations. So we're just waiting to see what the next step would be.
Explains why it folded over so easy.
Yes, and our concern is, try to remember what the percentage was, but it was more than 50% failure on all the posts that were installed. And we would like to see all of them to be replaced, because I cannot trust that the ones that are not loose are actually set at 36 inches. So that's all to say that we hope it's gonna get fixed sometime soon at no cost to the township.
I hope so. I mean, that park renovation was amazing, so I hope it does quick.
It's been a while, yeah.
Derek?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a couple of quick, traffic updates. I was able to catch up with Ted Lewis a little bit when he was at East Goshen Building on the Waterford traffic coming through from Marstein. Seems to be calmed down quite a bit. I think that speed bump that nobody likes is actually doing its job to a certain extent, but Ted and I talked and he did it for me. It seems like everybody's staying within the range they're supposed to. So I think things have calmed down there for now. I am anticipating, obviously, school starting soon. Some issues at the East Goshen Elementary. Again, we continue to have various conversations with Wayne Burster on possible remedies there. Nothing has been solidified yet, but I'm sure that will come up again pretty soon, since it's always the worst in the beginning of the year too, when you have new families and they're just trying to figure it out. So be on the lookout for that subject, because I don't think that's one that's going away anytime soon.
So as you know, me and Sergeant Lewis met with Barbara Henry a couple months ago. Gave some suggestions, some ideas. So
and we did bring those to him. He's also looking at some possible restriping in that bowl there that might help, but the district's just moving slow on that stuff. Other than that, we do have that land development going on Hershey's Mill Road, the 13 houses being built there. They're more into that land development now, and they're about to repave the portion on Hershey's Mill Road. So I think the traffic there will get better now that they're into the building of the homes versus the infrastructure work. And then lastly, right now, we're actually in the middle of our 5-mile summer paving project in this kind of a similar area, north section of the township. So Board of View area, and then we have a couple of cul-de-sacs off of Marstein. So all the milling is done and repaving has started. So might be some minor traffic issues here and there while we finish that up. So
Great.
About it.
This next subject matter is the review of approved bills for July 8th and July 18th. We don't need to vote on it. Any comments about it? Any issues with the approved bills?
I'm happy.
Let's move on to old business and sort of going to try to merge both in old business, which is the proposed 2026 budget, version 2, which we have a copy of, and then under the new business 2026 minimum municipal obligation, or what we call the MMO, for the pension plan. So we actually received some very good news, extremely, which is our municipal obligation was reduced by, I think the number was $400,000.
Yes.
So for the public, explain what the MMO is.
So I'm actually going to defer to Lieutenant Stafford, sure, as the pension administrator of the department.
So the MMO, or the minimum municipal obligation, is the amount of money that the municipality, in this case, the police commission, has to fund the pension fund based upon the evaluation that the accountants do and determine the assets versus the liabilities and the funding levels there. So the funding that goes in is a mix of funding from the police commission itself, which ultimately is the municipalities, as well as some state aid that we get. We submit a report every year to the state of our financials, and they look at it and apply a formula to it and determine how much the state's going to kick in state aid. So the MMO is determined basically how much money do we need to put in to meet our minimum funding, as well as offset by the state aid. So we have two options. The one is, my glasses on for this, get it right. $1,021,990. That's the minimum MMO. And then there's a second one, which is the minimum MMO based upon market value of the assets. It's slightly higher, but it's $1,024,235. We typically do it based upon the market value and go with the slightly higher number there, just because it's a more accurate reflection of the needs of the fund. So that would be my recommendation, but ultimately what we need from the commission is a decision of which one of those two numbers you're going to.
Matter of $3,000.
Correct.
Do you need a motion?
I think you need a motion.
Move.
So this, correct me if I'm wrong, this is something that's included in the budget process for next year that doesn't need to be voted on this year,
No, it has to be voted on before the end of September
or next year.
Yes.
or next year.
So it's locked into what this budget will be when we vote on later.
Correct.
No, you're right. No, yeah, you're right.
I mean, but yeah.
I'll make, Mr. Chairman, are you through?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion that the commission authorize $1,024,234,000 for the minimum municipal obligated based on the market value of assets. Is that correct?
Can I just make one slight change? I think you said $1,024,234. I think you meant $235.
I said 35, didn't I?
So now you said 234, actually.
Can you find it in your heart to forgive me?
I'll second that.
$1.
Thank you.
All in favor? John, can I just ask you, is that I can't ever remember a $400,000 less.
Yeah, I mean, so it's based upon an assessment of the valuation of the assets of the fund.
Yeah.
So as, if the markets do well, the value of the funds go up, right? Then that changes and brings down how far off we are from the funding level. So, I mean, I can't speak off the top of my head to times where we might have had those numbers, but overall, we do normally see it, an ebb and flow with the markets.
Yeah.
It's a 2-year look back too, when you're doing the MMO, and we had just dropped off now 2022, which was a horrendous year for the market.
Yeah.
When you get that kind of significant drop off of a bad market year.
So then it's based on,
Yeah. But there are fluctuations, so you just have to be tempered in your excitement of, going forward.
It might go up. next
I don't
year.
think it's gonna be.
Actually, I'm excited about it because this is my last year. So I'll take full credit for it. But, no, I think it's still a great number regardless. Okay, let's move on.
Mr. Chairman, do you mind? I just have a couple questions about the budget.
Sure.
Mind?
Absolutely.
Kelly, I'm gonna throw it into the fire here, so if I need to ask Kathy, just let me know.
Okay, I'll do my best.
So for the accreditation fees, this year, obviously, we're over because of the accreditation consultant. But next year is proposed for $27,000. If the accreditation consultant's only 12, why do we need to have for 27 then?
I do not know the answer to that question. I think we'll have to refer back to Kathy. I don't know what all is included
In the
in
accreditation?
that,
Okay.
yeah, besides the consultant, yeah.
Okay, because I know there's only so much that we can actually go through on this, but another thing is, but the portable radios, I see we put $14,000 in it every year. I think we have, I don't know if this is a healthy balance or not. So we have $154,000 in there right now. How much are radios?
So that's a good question. Right now, the radios are provided by the county, but going forward, I believe there's going to be changes. And John's our liaison to the county as far as the tech and the Department of Emergency Service. So there is some fees that I believe are going to be accrued going forward in the coming years.
I just spent 2 days at meeting.
Yeah.
The county right now is evaluating 4 proposals for replacement of the radios. Right now, the county provides the radios at no cost. And in the past, they even included installation costs out of that. But there, as the chief said, there is a potential for some of that cost shifting. There definitely will be some cost shifting. I don't foresee the radios themselves costing us, but we're definitely gonna have to pay for installation. There's a potential on how the bids itself is structured with the money the county has set aside, where there could be some options for, if you want certain additional things, like they may give you the radio, but you have to buy the accessories. Or they, it may come down to each department getting X number of radios. And if you have a higher need than that, then you're gonna have to buy those radios and pay for them yourself. But I can't speak to that right now because there's a big difference in some of the vendors' prices, so I don't know how it's all gonna.
When do you think that you'll know? Or will know?
We should probably have a good direction within the next month.
It's amazing they raise our taxes. They can't find enough money for our radios, but that's the point. I have a couple other questions about the fund, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm working through this. The security cameras of a balance right now of 64,000. I see that we want to do another 8,000 on that. Any idea when we're going to need new security cameras? I know it says it's ongoing, but I'm just trying to figure out these balances that we currently have in there. Not saying I don't want to fund them completely. I'm just trying to see if it's a healthy enough balance. Do we need to contribute?
Right,
the
so
full amount?
I don't know, I know the corporate large is constantly up on the security cameras and updating them. I believe there are some that are going to be replaced in the coming year. Which ones, I'm not sure. I can find that out for you.
Yeah, I'm just curious about most of these, like the weapons. I know we just got new weapons. And then like the license plate reader, we're gonna have a balance of 75. It says we're gonna need new phones in 2027. What's the estimated cost? I know we have some of the numbers in here, but just seeing if now with the MMO reduced, it makes a big difference, but I'm just trying to figure out if there's any way, any wiggle room on some of these balances, if we don't need to necessarily give the full amount for this coming year, so.
Right, so that's something that, again, me and Kelly can.
Okay.
and
Yeah,
Josh, we all
accreditation, all
can
those, okay.
meet with Kathy and, figure out those numbers and the need.
Makes
Since
sense.
that change occurred.
When does the budget have to be, which date it has to be approved by? Is there?
By October 1st.
Fun question. It's a fun question. No, I mean, so, it's been sort of the goal is to get it into the hands of, it's to approve it at the October, WEGO meeting. And then be able to give it to the boards of supervisors to pass with their preliminary budgets in November. So that's the overall goal. Now, obviously, there needs to be communication and talk about the numbers prior to that, which is why we're doing this now. But that's I mean, if you want the strict timeline as far as passage, we need to get it over to the boards to be able to pass in the October WEGO meeting, and then the boards can pass it as part of their numbers for the preliminary budget in November for both townships.
Mr. Chairman, I would like for you to take that into consideration and schedule a specific workshop session with the affected parties, mainly Kathy and whoever else can, between now and then, so we can thoroughly just concentrate on the budget and answer these questions.
I'm not against the idea. You?
I'm not either. I just know that my board's reviewing the budget as well with their recommendations on what they would like to have additional questions about as well. So.
So if we had our answers, then that would be easier for the political.
So the question will be just the timing of it.
Yeah, whenever you expeditiously, so we can at least be on the same page.
With the proposed date. I have, Clint, you finished?
Yeah.
Okay. Two questions. One is that why do we need an added e-bike?
So, okay, so I apologize, Dick, I know you weren't here at the last meeting. So with Trepley Farms, opening up hopefully soon to the public, our special events, that we, participate in, East Coastal Day specifically, West Town Day,
How many e-bikes do we have?
we don't, none.
No,
We have no e-bikes, yeah. It would make it easier specifically for Cribley Farm for us to get into certain places.
Unfortunately, Crivilli Farm's not going to open up to the public for some time.
Right, but I know that's just looking in the future though. I mean, we have other areas that we could use it as.
Okay.
Especially with now the way that our structure within the patrol department has sort of changed a little bit. I would like to see our bike unit be a little more proactive, especially within our apartment complexes, for certain surveillance, like, whether it be if we at nighttime, if we're having vehicle break-ins or if we're having drug issues. I would like to utilize that within, areas within Westchester Pike. Obviously, officers can get a lot quicker and move around a lot quicker on the e-bike than they could pedaling.
Okay.
But again, it's the future. We have bikes, traditional police mountain bikes that are, I believe, when Sergeant Ragney's first started on the bike patrol, those were the bikes we were using 25 plus years ago, if not close to 30 years ago, the same bikes that we've had for years. We use them, but again, with looking to advance or get the bike unit back into more proactive policing, I believe that the e-bike would be a valuable tool.
And since you mentioned that Sergeant Ragney's here, I just want to welcome you.
Thank you very much. I like your haircut.
Another question, and this may be a Kathy question, but if you can help with this, it'd be helpful. I'm trying to understand, and part of it is because, and this is actually for our two boards as well, okay? In this regarding building expense, and that means this building.
Mhm.
Okay. In 2023, it was $153,700. In 2024, the actual expense went up by $37,000, $190,000. Our approved for 2025 was $170,000. And the projected cost is going to be $180,000. Proposed for 2026, $189,000. To the best of your recollection, and I understand, Dave, this may not be your area, and Kelly may not. We might need Kathy for it.
Yeah.
Just, can you sort of walk through it? Do you remember what it was that, why there was a $37,000 increase from 2023 to 2024?
I can.
Was it the new HVAC? Wasn't the air?
Was it
down?
the
The
roof?
training?
I thought that was. Do you have any, Mike, do you know?
Could be because of the preparation for accreditation. I know there's a lot of extra things we have to do to get the building ready for that inspection. I don't know, am I misspeaking?
Yeah, well, that was the case when we initially got accredited back in like 2016 or so. But there are some building expenses that we incurred.
But that wouldn't go underneath the accreditation fees.
Yeah.
I think it's the actual.
It did go to the building, yeah. But going forward I can't speak to a couple of years ago, the difference. I'd have to find out for that. But for going forward into the coming year, I know we're looking at a big project that Corporal Large is looking into now as far as Bob's system within this building is extremely obsolete and eventually it's not going to be operating. So that's something he's looking into. Again, that could be a possibility going into 2025. Why that's.
And to Cody's comment, I think the HVAC was not, I think that was afterwards.
No,
That
it was in
last year
2025.
that the HVAC went out in the computer room.
That was last.
Last
year.
I thought we had like a training room or the evidence room or something.
It was a computer room. It was where all of the electronics were.
I mean, the room here, but I don't know what here.
It was just more curiosity
And there was a room.
because of yeah, I mean, there was that huge jump there. It's a lot of money. Okay.
I mean, I'd have to, again, I'd be speculating, but I know it was about 3 or 4 years ago, this roof was put on this building too. So I'm not sure if that was separate or that came up.
And on the issue of adding a drone, we've already talked about that. Right. Do you want to talk about it? Why we need a second drone?
Sure. So the drone, like I said, for the fair that we just had last month at the Ocean Fair, was incredibly valuable. Just one, I mean, there's multiple reasons why I'm suggesting we get another one. The one I'm proposing is smaller, it's sleeker, it's not as loud, it's better for surveillance. The one we have is a state-of-the-art drone. Again, I appreciate the police commission last year deciding on that one. Why not get the better? Why not go all out and get the better one that has more capabilities, which we did. And that drone has been great so far. Initially, again, my plan when I proposed the drone unit last year was to start with 2 drones. And again, thank you to the police commission for approving the one. But again, I'd like to move forward with that second one now to advance the drone unit and use that drone in a more, like I said, more for surveillance reasons. You know, the drone that we currently have, and Lieutenant Stafford's now our chief drone pilot. He oversees the program.
Does that mean he drones on and on?
Yeah. He can tell you that, like, as I said, the drone's great. It's loud. It's big. It can be seen. It has actually been spotted by some people when we were trying to use it. This one is, like I said, smaller. It's less. It's not as loud. Also, as we saw when Dick, when you came to see the drone, it unfortunately during that day it wasn't there yet. And the reason why it wasn't there was because an officer was using it on a call, so it was delayed getting to the fair. So in instances like that, you know, where we could have it, you know, using 2 different spots, having that second drone would be key. And if one goes down for repair or whatever, we still have that drone available. We still have 1 drone available for us.
And at the time, and I'll speak for myself, is that the idea of having redundancy purposes, having a second one, I think not having it is counterproductive.
Right.
Having said that, there will be people, including on some boards, whether it be this board or 2 boards now or future boards, that will say, ask the following question, because it's a question that's been asked before on a variety of different issues. And that is, and I did ask you that when we had the meeting at the fair itself. If we, first of all, do other police departments have drones?
Yes.
Are we the exception to the rule having drones? Or are we the standard at this point?
I wouldn't call it the standard, but it's a tool that is increasing throughout law enforcement, not only in Chester County, but through the region and probably through the country. So there are other departments in Chester County that have drones and have multiple drones. I know Westchester Borough has a drone unit and they have upwards, I believe, 4 drones that they utilize.
So for the people who will say, ask the following question, and all 3 of you know we've heard the questions, and just want to make sure we sort of disavow people from this concern. If we have 2 drones and there's a department someplace else that doesn't have a drone, do we get compensated for the use of the drone?
So if they call us out for to assist them, no. Again, it's under our mutual aid agreement that we'll go out and assist as needed on a call. Just as we would if they were calling for backup for an officer that was on a domestic because they were shorthanded or they were busy. You know, we wouldn't get compensated for assisting them in that manner.
But we operate it though.
But we operate it. They're not using it. We operate it. It's under our control. Obviously, yeah, we wouldn't give it we wouldn't give the drone out. We wouldn't loan the drone out. We wouldn't borrow, let anybody borrow it, that's the question, yeah.
So when Westchester Borough has 4 drones, would they be the first call for a drone?
Whoever's available, they may, like right now, their drone program's down because they're updating their drones. So they're replacing them and now there's a backlog in getting the new ones. So right now they're out of commission, they're out of service, their drone unit. So they're not operating any right now. So they wouldn't necessarily be the first ones out. There's no hierarchy of who gets called. Basically, you know, if a department that doesn't have a drone would need one, would say, could you contact Westchester? We go, Upper Euclid has a drone. Could you see if anybody's available that has a pilot on duty that?
Does West Goshen have a drone?
West Goshen does have a drone, yes.
Yeah, their program's kind of in the infancy. They only have one single pilot, so it's kind of hit or miss whether they can actually put it up.
And if I'm correct, I think we have 9 pilots at this point. Am I correct?
Yeah, and so, I mean, just a couple quick comments.
Please.
Is number one, if you stopped at the fair and you saw a whole bunch of drones there, obviously one was ours. The other 2 were a friend of mine. He sells them. He's a sales rep. He had his there. They actually broke later in the week. Nothing that we did.
Not a good advertisement.
They're back. And they're a different type of drone. They're what you call a tethered drone. Things that are very outside of our price range. But, you know, and I think the chief hit on a bunch of good points, right? Like number one, we want redundancy in case one of them breaks, which we had before at East Goshen Day. We didn't have our drone. It was down. That's where we saw my friend's drone up there too. Otherwise we wouldn't have had one. Right now there's a huge backlog created by some of the, not to get into politics, but some of the current politics that have been going on, whether it's tariffs, and imports and all kinds of stuff. So there used to be like the one program that we actually did buy into for repairing drones. DJI has shut it down now. They're going to honor our 1 year that we paid for, but they will not do it in the future. They're having a big problem getting parts to fix drones. The downtime on repairs is huge. That's why we paid into that program, was because it would allow us to have a loaner and we back into service a lot more. They shut it down because they can't come up with the parts to keep them flying. So that's a big concern. You know, if you have one drone and it crashes, you know, you could be down for months before you get another one. And as the chief brought up, the drone that we're asking for now, it's for what I would call a different type of mission. You know, the drone we got is really good and really serves it in a patrol function, right? If we're out there, we're trying to apprehend people or we're looking for missing people, does a great job with that, has a lot of the great technology for that. What we're looking for now is a smaller drone to use on more surveillance, more investigation side of things, as well as though it would provide that backup, right? It's not going to be as great in the apprehension mode or the looking mode, but it does provide that backup. The other thing you find is you can really never run an operation with one drone, okay? Because the biggest issue we run into is batteries. So if you put that drone up, let's just say it's a barricade situation, that drone's our eyes, which is great because it keeps us safe. We keep our people back, we're watching. But when it runs out of battery, we got to bring it back. So now we lose our eyes. And we change that battery out, we fly back. Is that guy still in the same spot? I don't know, because we lost our eyes, right? So what we need is that second drone to come up, take that place, be our eyes, allow us to bring our first one back, change our batteries. When they get low, we swap them back out. Now we do some of that using our neighbors. We try, but like we talked about, you know, Westchester was down for a period of time. West Goshen only has one pilot. So we have, and it's kind of in its infancy in the county, even though there's been drones in the county for years, but we don't have a real structured program, and we're trying to get some of this up and running. I mean, we're at the point right now, we have a group text from a bunch of the drone leaders. And if somebody goes out, they'll throw a text in the group like, hey, my guy's going to, you know, the borough to help them on something. And if people, you know, around and have a pilot, sometimes we'll send a pilot to help them, stuff like that. We don't really do a whole lot of that. from our end, because we know it brings up those questions of funding and stuff like that. We're not like bringing people in on overtime or anything like that, but if it's something during the day where I can send a guy from CID up there who happens to be a pilot and he can assist, it gives him the training and experience to bring it back on ours, especially at a part where we're in the infancy here and it's new for us. We're constantly learning. We brought the borough guys down here one day to teach, kind of, hey, go through your spiel of what you learned. Because some of the lessons they learned were a little expensive, so if we can learn them from them without learning them on our dime, we want to do that stuff, so.
So just to understand is that, and I'm not trying to get into politics of it, but to understand just simply the facts. The parts for the drones, and you did say it's kind of related to, directly or indirectly to the tariffs. Which country has been producing those parts?
China.
So we as a country, our drones, we've left it to China to produce the parts for our drones.
China produces pretty much,
Should they produce the drones as well?
yes. China produces pretty much the majority of what you use in your life, whether we want to realize it or like it or whatever. It's just the facts. And there are a couple American-made drones, and the technology's terrible. They can't hold a camera to it. So, at one point they were talking about eliminating China, the drones from China, like you couldn't fly them at all. There was some stuff from Homeland Security. They were talking about doing it on that side. There's other stuff with the tariffs and the importing of whether the drones or the parts themselves. There's a whole lot there.
What's the solution to it, John?
If we could get an American drone that was worth it, that would be a good solution. But so far, that hasn't been.
Just want to get Zuckerberg on it.
I do have a quick question. I don't know if thanks for that, actually. I'm obviously for the drones and the usage. My only concern or potential fear is how often do you have to replace them? Because it seems as if the technology on the drones are constantly upgrading. There's constantly a newer, better version. What's the average lifespan that you'd expect without it falling or what happens?
So I think more of the question is something that's less expensive that we gotta look at it is replacement of batteries. It's what we're more.
We need to put that in the budget somewhere other. I know you have it on here for $1,000 for battery, but like a specific, we have sinking funds for basically everything else, don't we?
Yeah, I believe.
Weapons,
That
computers.
was brought up. I'm not sure. I brought it up to Kathy. I'm not sure where it ended up, but saying that we should put some money in specifically for batteries. You're probably 1 to 2 years lifespan on the battery, depending upon how many charges it really, they get a life cycle of so many charges. And just being prepared to switch some of them out. I mean, guessing on technology is hard.
Yeah.
I just had this discussion yesterday with the county guys about radios. And like, we're trying to set it up for the future, but where are we going to be in the future? Like the tech's jumping so quick that it's hard to say. Like, on the radio side, not to get into all that, but part of that discussion had to do with now there's some cellular based radio capabilities, but who knows what a cell phone is going to look like in 4 years, right? Like,
Is there a software component to this where we don't necessarily need to upgrade the hardware, but there's software that can make the technology better within the actual device? I'm just missing that blind. No idea.
yeah, there's a little bit of that, but a lot of it is based on the cameras.
So but the issue of batteries is another one of those real flashpoints on everything.
Mhm.
So the question is, to go back to the point that you just made, and that is that to be proactive about it, assuming this tariff issue continues on to be a problem, and it would possibly affect batteries being supplied.
Yeah, so far, my experience from what I've seen is that parts, batteries, stuff like that, you can get them. The issue is the lead time.
Oh, that's what I'm asking.
So as long as you prepare and you do it in advance, within a month or two, you're getting what you need. If you were to wait and say, hey, like this went down, I need to order it.
Yeah.
Well, you could be a month or two out before you get it.
So how much lead time, not necessarily the time, the duration of time, how much lead time do you need or lead opportunity do you need to ensure that we are never short of batteries for the drones?
Typically within a month, you can get what you need. So, and that's where we're saying, hey, we need to be aware of it. We bought the one extra set, so we have a little bit of a cushion. If a set goes down, we get a bad pair, whatever happens with it. We can still operate with what we have and we should be able to get it. Right, I think we got that one within 2 weeks probably. So it wasn't too bad, but you know, you never know. It could go up, it could go down.
Just if we have a working session or the workshop for the budget, I'd like for us to at least consider some type of a fund for drones for this.
I agree. Great.
Thanks for all your answers.
Thank you. Any other questions on the budget? Move on.
Save on for the workshop.
We already voted on the municipal. The amount.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just finally forgot. Officers' comments. We've heard a lot from the officers. Mike, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I do. Just to touch on actually what.
Better tell people who.
Mike Brackey, West County Scotia Police Department. Since we were talking about drones, there's another aspect, another side to this whole drone unit. It's the morale, the good morale it brings to our police officers that I have seen from the outside looking in. 'Cause I'm not good with drones. I got a detective that's a pilot. I think they got their pilot wings the other day and they're going to put them on their vest. And the guys are really excited and proud about that pin, being a pilot, being a part of kind of like a specialty niche in the police department, because the department's kind of stagnant right now. There's no hiring, there's no promotion. So this drone unit, from what I could see, was just a nice little morale booster for everybody that got involved. So I want to thank the commission for allowing us to get drones. I want to thank the chief for spearheading it and you know, be forward thinking, you know, with the way law enforcement is going. So I just wanted to say thank you to that. And I wanted to touch on, I know you mentioned stuff about e-bikes, but that will have the same effect. You know, even though we do have a bike unit right now, those e-bikes are a whole nother level of, and I know Dick, she said the park's not going to be open, but we would there's still things that are going to be happening over at that park, even though it's not open to the public yet. And having the ability to leave right from here on a couple of e-bikes and head on over there and into that property would be very beneficial.
The reason I mentioned about Quebilly not being open, one was one of the messages that we have to keep conveying as West Town to our own residents is, and we'll agree to this, I concur, is we have to keep sort of lowering the expectations about the timing of it. But that doesn't take away anything about the potential need for it, because there will be people using it regardless, when they shouldn't be. And if other untoward, you know, issues arise, the e-bike would be, if you say it's helpful, then that's a good thing. So
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, and just a quick comment on that. I know the chief brought it up before and, you know, saying that the bikes have been around pretty much as long as Mike has. And that is the truth. I mean, those bikes were here when Dave and I started too. And, they're what, 20, at least 25 years old. So, I mean, literally the same bikes, they're 25 years. We know what technology did and advanced. But it also, going back to Mike's comments about, you know, what can boost morale and what can be seen, right? That's also how the officers also interpret what you guys, as the police commission, find important. And, you know, if they're using a bike that's been here for 25 years, it's kind of hard to tell them that you guys value that. Right? So that's where some of the replacing some of that equipment kind of helps with morale. It helps shows what's valued or what isn't. So that's why we were looking for some of that.
And just to comment, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think in the past, though, the way, at least how I perceived the presentations for new bikes was for Community Day, the fair, and West Town Day. So there's like, the way it was presented previously to me was like it was only used for 3 days. But now that the chief's mentioning that there's other opportunities to use a bike, it allows me to at least have a conversation on board. So there's like, oh, it's just not the 3 days that you guys want new bikes for, it's more than that. So the additional information is helpful.
Well, I'm gonna even be more direct about it, is that I think that the way it was articulated in the past or communicated came across as that this is sort of like just it's a nice to have, as opposed to it's important to have. And I think the way it's being expressed now tells us what the value is.
What you said is correct. That was proposed in the past. And it might also be helpful, Lieutenant, if you and your staff could prepare before the budget session, within the last 6 months of last year, the first months of this year, how many times the bikes were used, and for what particular event. That way it puts an extra thing in that clip when we're looking at the cost of bicycles.
Yeah, I can easily do that. I could tell you right now. But again, it's forward thinking of what we will be using them for, not what we have been using them for. Because what we have used them for a variety of reasons, whether it was manpower, just the ability to use them in themselves, it's been sparse over the years. So it's what we're looking forward to doing.
That's what we want to know.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great.
Any other questions?
Thanks for all that.
Overtime reports.
So for July, the total amount of overtime, 196.5 hours, 196.5 hours, 10.5 hours of operational, 102 hours of sick time, 64 hours of personal time, 12 hours of training, and 8 hours of patrol overtime. Yes.
Month-end report.
So for the month-end report, Kathy, I asked her yesterday, her thoughts, she said we are on track, everything's looking good, push forward, so.
Any questions? On favorite one, PPU
Yeah.
report.
So, the split between, East Goshen and Westtown, is Westtown 45.56 and, East Goshen 54.4. That was for last month, since the beginning of the sector changes halfway through July. We're monitoring again, I noticed, as to see how the operations would be affected PPUs. So far, I've not seen any drastic change, in the sectors versus that I can tell.
So you're saying with the sector change, you're still looking roughly at the 45.5 then?
That's what we're gauging for.
But at the end of the day, it's that we're really not gauging it by the basis of PPUs in the first place now. Public comment. Thank you for the public. So with that, you'll hear a motion. to
So
adjourn.
moved.
I
Now,
think somebody's.
let's do,
You said something.
sorry.
Somebody's typing.
I don't want to tell.
Yeah, Dave Molnar.
What?
Yeah. Like,
So we're ready to return?
yeah, I'm good. We still like.
This is really, and if Ken Frischel was here, I would say this to him because he has our. So what we're seeing.
The meeting's still good. There you go, Tom, or Dave responded.
Yeah, that's just typing.
Just thank you to Tom.
David, thank you.
What did you say?
Says thank you to Tom, Cody, and Dick for coming to the fair. I personally appreciate the support and assistance from everyone at WeGo at the fair. And Dave, we feel the same way about you, and we want to thank you and congratulate you.
Good. Yeah.
Am I good?